Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Darvanalee Designs Studio. My name's Nicole, and this is Bec, and this is our Friday night craft along. So basically, we are going to be doing, as the title suggests, we are going to be doing Cheats Needle Turn, and I'm going to show you how to do that tonight. And Bec's going to learn how to do a blind stitch. Blind stitch. I didn't plan it that way at all. A blind stitch to stitch down our applique, and also how you can use that for your binding as well. So I can see that we've got a few people on with us tonight, so if you just leave us a comment and say hey. I can see that Elizabeth Sawyer's here. She's ready and excited. Awesome. awesome. I see that Carol's here. Hello, Carol. Good. Or good morning, I should say.
Early good morning.
Early good morning. Alrighty, so basically we've had a busy afternoon. Bec's gone home and had a little bit of rest so she could join us tonight. And yeah, it's been a busy afternoon. I've been frantically running around trying to get everything prepped, and then I forgot all about having a parent watch day down at tap dancing today with Narralee. So yeah, and I think the neighbours have just come home and their kids are yelling at the top of their lungs. So that should be a fun evening. Friday night's always handy around here, isn't it? You got
Sure
audio?
is. No, I don't have audio, but
I'm just going to check that I've got audio. Yep.
okay.
Yep.
This does play up sometimes.
Yep.
It
It does have two
I've
things.
tried both,
Yeah.
so.
Try both. Alrighty. So hopefully you've gone over. You've gone down underneath the video and you've printed off your free mini quilt that you've got that we're going to be working on today. You need to print off 2 copies, and I'm about to explain why you need to print off 2 copies. So this is the layout, as you can see there. So it's just a little square that we're going to do. It's got a couple of little flowers and some leaves and stem. So that is what the layout is. Your sheet will come with all your different template pieces, and they'll have letters on them and the corresponding, and you'll just put them to the same layout. So this has all got the letters on it, and that's where you place your applique pieces. You right, Bec?
Yes, I've finished my dinner now.
Yep, cool. You're all good?
Yep,
okay,
good
yeah,
to
I just fed a spaghetti bolognese. So, all right, so that you can hold on to that one. So you're only really going to need scraps for this as well. Now, there's a few things that I do use. I try to use smallish pins, and I've got these are the pins that I try to use. They're just a little applique pin, and they're about they're a tiny little pin, as you can see. They're not real big at all, and that's the brand that I use, which is Matilda's own. And they're just there's about 50 in there, and they're really good because they're tiny for the really small pieces and stuff like that. So you want to, if you don't have any applique pins, you'll just need some dress making pins. They're usually small enough to use for this sort of applique as well. You're going to need a bunch of scraps of fabric. So I just used 4 different fabrics tonight. So I have used this for my flowers, and then I've got that for my stem, and then this is for the center, and then that's for the leaves. So just grab whatever you got. This was just leftover fabric from a project that we had that we done for a Finish It Friday, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just grabbed that out, and that's what we're going to use. And you also need to have about a 12-inch square piece of calico or backing of your choice. So whether it's a plain homespun or something like that. It does work really well with plain homespuns, but I'm just going to use calico tonight. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to fold that into quarters, and then that will give us our crease. Just like so. You can see that that's creased. So that will help us place our flowers and placement and all that sort of stuff.
Cool.
All right, so yeah, so if you've got any questions at all, just pop them in there. We've got a new name that I haven't seen before, Judy B. Hi Judy.
Hi.
Welcome. This is a very informal craft along. It's we just basically do what we are going to be doing in the craft room anyway, but we thought that we'd do it as a live, and then that way everybody can join in and you can learn some stuff along the way. So just continuing on with some of the things that you're going to need. You're going to need a small sharp pair of what are they called? Snips. It's late in the day. You're just going to need a little, some snips. You're also going to need some fabric scissors, and you're also going to need some paper scissors as well. So, excuse me. You're also going to need an applique mat. So that just protects your iron from when we put the applique down. And you're also going to need some Roxanne's Baste glue or a glue pen of some sort. You can use anything that you use for English paper piecing. I just like the Roxanne's Baste glue. If you don't have it, we do have it on our website, so you can head over there and grab some. I just find it really super easy to use this, especially this little one that they've got on the market now. That's really good too. So you'll need some of that.
Little size,
it is a handy little size. You just don't want to chuck it in your handbag and think that it's lip gloss. You're also going to need some best press as well. And I'll show you what we're going to do with that. And I've got the lid off at the moment and everything's set up in front of me. Today the stock came in after we went live today, and we've got little mini bottles of Roxanne Baste glue that are getting listed up on the website this weekend.
I was wondering what that was.
Yeah, so they're half the size of those, half the size of this one. So there's a little one. See, little baby one. And it's a flexible tube as well, and it's just got a nozzle. So yeah, I'm actually opening it up and using that tonight. So because I'm almost out of the other one, so I thought, I'll use that. Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Got to test these things.
So yeah, so that came in today, so I was pretty happy about that. See, and it's got a little, little nozzle on it, so I've squeezed the hell out of it, so it's dripping out. So that's why I'm going to use that tonight, because it's a little one. So I'll probably swing between the two of these tonight. All right, so what else do we need? We've got our fabric, we've got our templates, we've cut all our templates out. Now, I told you to print out 2 copies, and there's a reason for that, because one copy you'll see on your template pieces that there is a dark line and then there's a lighter line around the outside. So you're going to actually cut out all your template pieces, and you are going to, for your fabric, you're going to cut on the outer side, so that is your fabric template, and then what you will do is the fabric will get wrapped around this inner template. And you can see here that I've already done the leaves, so they're a lot smaller. Where'd they all go? So you can see there that that's for the fabric. I think Margaret's got us mixed up. So yeah,
I'm Bec.
That's Bec. I'm Nicole. Bec had some cancer removed from her eyebrow yesterday, so yeah,
but I'm good.
She's good. She's not as black and blue as we thought she was going to be.
No, they said I'd have a big black eye.
But nothing. She's tough.
I'm tough, yeah.
So yeah, so basically you've got one template that's cut on the outer line, and then you've got the other template which is cut on the inner line. So you can see there, that's the flower one, and then there's the paper one. Okay, so that's what you need to do for your templates. And then but before you do that, if you want to use this over and over again, take one set of the templates and laminate it with a heat laminate. So a laminate that goes through a roller that actually heats up, not a cold one, because then what you can do, and I'm going to show you later what you can do with that, and it will last quite a few blocks. So I've done this particular mini quilt, I've actually done before, and I did 4 or 5 of them with the one set of templates. So it's just printer paper and then ran through your laminate, and you don't have to do that. It still works with the paper quite fine, but I just laminate it, so then I've got it as a template a bit later on. Alrighty, so yeah, basically you just want to, so you can see here that I've got this one, it's still got the 2 lines on it, so I'm going to be cutting that inner line. This is the laminate one, and it's the one for the fabric. So that's what I'm going to do. So has anybody got any questions at all? No, that's it. All right. Okay.
Do you use a dab of glue?
Yes, I do use a dab of glue. Where's that? I missed that.
Carol, up there.
Oh, right up the top. There we go. Right up the top. I'm looking down the bottom. Alrighty. So yeah, we just use a dab of glue. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move the camera down, and we're going to get started. Yeah, just regular printer paper. You just print it out through Adobe. The link there will open up in Google, then you save it to your, download it to your computer, and then open it up in Adobe, and it'll come up to the right scale. There's nothing to measure on it, and it doesn't really matter whether you print it through Adobe or Google. It just means if you print it through Google, it'll just be slightly smaller than the Adobe one. So it'll probably be about 1/8 of an inch smaller all the way around. Usually works out about that. So yeah, or to a 1/16 of an inch all the way around. So yeah, so that's all you've got to worry about. All right, so Bec has been frantically cutting bits of fabric for me, as you can see here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tilt the camera down, and then we're going to get started on what we need to do to get this underway. All right, so excuse me for a moment. Hopefully it'll tilt down. We might have to bring it a bit closer. Bec, are you able to? Yep. Yeah. I'll just balance it and we'll bring it a bit closer. Got it. That's it. There we go. I'll just sit that on there. That's good. Yeah, there we are. Yeah, we're good there.
Let's plug some power in while I'm here.
Alrighty. So we should be able to, you can all see that okay? Alright. Okay. Alright, so I'll just get all this gear out of the way. And I'll bring my ironing pad in. Put the iron just there. All right, you right there, Bec?
Yep, I'm good.
Yeah, you want to come in a little bit? All right. Okay, so basically what you're going to do, as I said, you're going to cut out your fabric template, and then you're going to cut out your template that you're going to wrap the fabric around. So you can see here that I've just pinned it in place, and I'll probably add another pin into that. And then all you're going to do is just cut around the edge of the template. Now this does not have to be perfect, because this is actually the seam allowance that you're cutting. You want to get as close as you can, and you don't want to cut the paper. You definitely want to be on the outside of the paper, and that's just going to give you a nice seam allowance. It's a bit of a process. So you can see there, I'm just snipping around. So I'm going to hand that off to Bec, and she can continue doing that. There you go. Because you get the general idea, you cut around the template. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut, so this is the one that I've got laminated. So now I need to cut this one to match that. So I'm just going to go into that center one, and I'm going to cut on the outside of this dark line. Okay. And you want to get as close as you can to that dark line and just cut on the outside of it. If you go in a little bit, don't stress it. It's going for a fly.
Why? Is it coming to America with us?
It must be. So that's basically all you're doing, is you're just going to cut all that out. And then what we're going to do is we're going to wrap the fabric around. So I'm going to give that to you to keep going. So you can see there, you're getting the general idea. You're cutting it on the outside of that dark line, and you cut out your entire template. There we go. Take my fingers out. Alrighty. So now I've got, you can see here, I've got some that I've cut out a little bit earlier. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the fabric, remove the pins, and you can set your paper piece that you do to cut out your fabric. You can set that aside because you don't need that anymore. And then what we're going to do is we're going to flip that over onto the wrong side, and then we're going to place our template piece into the center of our fabric. Then you're just going to get your best press and a little paintbrush, or you can use your finger, whatever you need to do. And all you're going to do is dab your paintbrush in it, and then you're just going to put a little bit of the best press, or your start, whatever starch you've got, you can use. I'm just using best press because that's what I have here. Okay, and you're going to just go around into that seam allowance. And because it's laminated, it's not going to wreck it or anything like that. And even if you were just using the paper, the iron will actually dry it out anyway, so you'll be fine. It won't matter. Just be gentle when you're going around with your with your best press or your starch that you don't put too much near the paper. Alrighty, so we've got that in place. I'll just set that out of the way, and then all I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the iron and I'm just going to roll that over the template, and you'll hear a little bit of a sizzle. That's okay. And the reason I said to use the heat laminate is because it's going to have the iron. If you use a cold laminate, it'll actually melt. So there you go. So you just keep doing that and just turn it around as you need to. And at this point, I like, once I've got that sitting in place, I just come up to where my corners are here, and I just snip down and stop about a 1/16 of an inch away from that point there, and just snip into those. And on my curves, I just do a couple of little snips as well, and that just makes them sit a little bit better. So just give it a little bit of a clip all the way along. Okay, and because we've got the missed a bit, and because we've got the laminate on there, it will make it super easy to put it over. So you just roll it over, and if you can see there, I'm not sure if you can see that or not, just in here I haven't snipped far enough, so I just need to come down a little bit. And that's now going to roll a little bit better for me. Watch yourself.
Judy says you make it look so easy.
Yeah, I'll burn myself in a second, you watch. I've already burnt myself twice, twice in the last half an hour. And you just roll it over, and it'll just hold into place. Sometimes you've got to fiddle around with the, you know, to get it to, you know, beat it into submission, to get it to go around the curves. Now this is really good. Like, you can do the whole quilt and you can prep it all and all the rest of it, and that way you can just sit down and just start sewing. I always like to do that, as like for a lot of my hand applique stuff. I like to just prep it all, it's all done, and then I can just get stuck into it. Now on the corners here, you're going to, oh, it's still hot. So you can see here that we've just come around that corner. The iron is set onto a cotton setting, so it's hot. And then we've got this little point just here that we've got, and then I've got this excess fabric hanging out here. Don't worry about that, you can just leave that on for now, but when we go to put that onto our background, where's my little ones gone? You got them?
The sample?
No, the little scissors. I don't know where they've gone. Oh, there they are. So when we, no, you don't use any steam because you're using the starch. So basically what you do is that little excess piece there, and I'm just trying to get a good angle of it, so you can see that that is sticking really far up, over the template. So basically what I do is I just snip that bit off, just like so. Someone's used my scissors for something other than fabric by the looks of it. So, and then I only end up with a little bit, and when I go to sew that down, I can tuck that behind the fabric and then stitch that down, but then I don't have that big excess piece there. So basically you just got to be just be very aware that not to cut too much of it off, and leave a little bit there so you can manipulate it with the needle a little bit later on. But you can see how that is just rolling over that template, and we're getting the shape of our flower. And if you find that you've got a little bit like this, you just, like where it's sticking up a little bit, if you just snip it down a little bit closer, that'll smoothen out for you. All right, so I'm going to just keep doing that, and hopefully not burn back.
I think I might just move over.
Sorry. So basically what you're trying to do is get the shape of the flower. And if you need to add a little bit more starch, just go ahead and add some more. Hear the sizzle.
You can hear it, yeah. Oh, I can hear it on the audio as well.
Oh, can you?
Yep, everyone else can hear it.
Yeah, no steam, because you're using the starch anyway, so you don't need any steam. It takes a little while to do, and it gets a little, once you get going, you get used to what you've got to do, and you can just start getting them down. So
once you get into a rhythm.
Yeah, you get into a rhythm, yeah. Curves are always the trickiest thing. They just sometimes just don't want to play the game. These kids are awfully quiet now, aren't they?
They are, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. I'm a little bit scared the kids are quiet. I thought, what did Carol just say?
I thought you had a magic iron. I heard sizzle, but you didn't. But didn't see steam.
No, no. It's just the starch that I'm using. It's a liquid starch, so. And if you've got a spray starch, all you need to do is just spray the starch into the lid, and that will give you the liquid in the lid, and then you can do exactly the same thing. So don't think because you don't have liquid starch that you can't do this. You can do that. You just got to spray it. Sort of like when you're testing a deodorant, you just spray it into the lid to smell it, and go from there.
Oh.
What's wrong?
We've got Susan joining us from Tamworth.
Cool.
Margie's from Hunter Valley.
Yeah.
Who else? Paula Bowie's just joined us.
Cool. Hi Paula, how you going?
Late to the party.
Late to the party?
I don't know.
I know these tardy people. It's all good, don't stress it. And Carol's in Arizona.
Yeah.
Okay, so once you've got it all around, so you can see there I've just got a little bit of a seam allowance going all the way around. What I like to do is just flip it over, and then I press it from this side as well, just making sure that everything is sitting in place and it's nice and flat. And if you find that a little piece is sticking, I do it all the time. Stop laughing at me, Bec. I do it all the time. I burn myself all the time. If you find that you've got a little piece sticking out, don't stress it. When you go on and put that down on your background fabric, you'll be able to manipulate it with the needle and get it under. Or you can put a little bit of glue there to hold it in place. So, what was that? I missed that. Can you show us a close-up view of the sharp inward points? Do you snip close to the template in there? Yes, I do. I've got another one to do. I didn't get all the flower heads done. So, basically, I'm going to do another one to show you anyway. So, yeah, I will get it up nice and close for you.
Judy's joining us from Mortdale in Sydney.
Hey, Judy. How you going? Mortdale.
She's also said she wants to do applique, but it scares her too much.
Oh, well.
She avoids it.
Well, we've actually got a couple of videos now for applique. We've done machine applique, and we've done tips and tricks for that. Because a lot of the time when I do these Friday night live shows, basically it is actually a learning thing for Bec, because Bec is very new to patchworking and applique, and pretty much doesn't know what anything is. So we've always got new techniques.
Dumb me down a bit more.
Well, you're only new, so you don't know what all the techniques are. I'm not dumbing you down at all. God, as if I'd do that. Right. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how we've done it. So I've put, you can see, I don't know if you can see how wet that is, but you can see there I've got a dry patch, and then there's a really dark red patch. That's how much starch I've got on there, and I've just used my paintbrush for that. And then what you're going to do is, I'm actually going to pin this because it's too hard to hold to show you. Okay. Now it's not going to escape on me. Alrighty, so we've put our, we're about to cut down into our points. So we've got that sitting in place, and I'm going to snip down, and I'll try and get a good view of that for you. Okay, where are we at? There we go. So that is where I'm going into that point, just there. So you can see that I've gone in a fair way. Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So yeah, so if you're finding that it's not curving for you, just do a couple of snips up to the template, but not going past the template. So I'm not sure if you can see how close I'm getting there. And then what will happen when you iron that over, you can see there, it's just going to roll really nicely over that template. And you want to do that for all your points. And curves are tricky because, you know, it is hard to get a piece of fabric to go around a curve. So you do want to put those little notches in there. You know, if I'm having lots of trouble with these curves, I'll even do like every 1/8 of an inch, do a snip and then just get it to roll over. But these ones here, you definitely want to come down into the template there. So my scissors are just touching the template, if that makes any sense at all. Very hard to get across on camera.
They said the close-up's good.
Yep, cool.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, so basically I had a little bit of trouble with that first one. It wasn't rolling around as nice as I would like it. So as I said, I am going to snip it probably every 1/8 of an inch along those curves. And all that does is just makes it easy to manipulate it. So you can see there, I'm just snipping along, not going past the template, but to the template. And it is like, this is pretty tricky doing it up like this. It is easier to have it down on a flat surface, and you can then manipulate it a little bit better.
Elizabeth wants to know, let me start again. Does the starch stop it fraying?
No, it doesn't stop it fraying. It just helps it roll over the template. But what happens is, where's my other piece? What happens is when you stitch it down, so I've got one here that I've already done. Okay, so you can see here, and I'm not sure if you're going to be able to actually see that there's a seam in there, but basically the seam is underneath. So there's no fraying. This is all folded edge. And then we do like a, so you can see there, that's a little bit better. You can see how I've just done a couple of little blind stitches there. And that is just on the edge of it, and that's all a neat edge, so it's never going to fray. And that's what we're doing. So it's called needle turn, but normally with needle turn is you, from what I've been told, and I could be completely wrong, but when I was shown how to do needle turn, they basically pretty much just eyeballed it, and then they would just use these and basically just roll it under with the pin and with the needle and sew it down as they go, whereas this one, it is all done for you. So you just stick it down and then you just go along and stitch it down. So as we're progressing along, you'll probably get a bit of an better understanding of what's going on. With the flowers too, I always start on the bottom edge and then come up and do the top of the flower first. I like to do it that way. And you just hold the iron onto your fabric until it dries, and you can see there it's not moving, it's just staying in place. And as I said, if you've got excess on those points on the edge of the flowers, don't worry, you can just trim them off and it all gets hidden underneath. So you can see here that this is just staying there now. It's not even moving. I don't need to hold it. It's not going to, and even if I took the template out, it'll just stay there like that.
Elizabeth said it was the inward points that she meant could fray.
No, they don't, because they it's still, you can so when you're sewing it down, if you've got a little bit of a raw edge there, you can just tuck it under a little bit more, and if it shouldn't fray, because I've had about 4 or 5 of these go over all over the world, and I've never had any of them say that they're frayed or anything. And the one that I had here that for a long time never frayed either. because you're not, when you're sewing it down, you can actually see where little points might be sticking out, and you can just push it underneath the fabric and then stitch it down, and then you don't have that problem at all. And if you're still doing it, having a problem, you can always put a little bit of fray stop on, a bit of fray check. What was that you're pointing on? I can't read from over here.
I was just wondering, is your camera on Wi-Fi or mobile data?
It's on mobile data.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Just that the Wi-Fi is
Yeah, it's working on my computer.
patchy.
Yeah. Yeah, I had it on. I haven't changed the settings since this morning, so.
That's good.
All right. So, just keep doing that until you've got it all wrapped around that template. I was hoping to have all this done and just have to show you on one, and then we could get stuck into the sewing, and then just flip it over and give it a really good press, and there you go. There's your little flower all done and ready to go. So once you've got that there, I usually just leave the template in there until I'm ready to use it. So I'll just set that aside, and then I know that it's there ready to go. That's why I don't say just, you know, cut out one fat flower. I actually get you to cut them all out, because then they're wrapped around the template, and they'll just sit there and cool down, and then they're ready to go when we need to put them on the onto the background. I don't know why it's doing that. Just refresh it.
Oh yeah.
Just refresh it. It'll, yeah. All right. So again, just paint around it with your paintbrush. Also, I haven't found with these flowers either that you need to, this rounded edge down the bottom here, I haven't yet had to snip into that, so I don't even worry about doing it. I just worry about the top. And you can see as you go. Again, is it working for you now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably a bit of a lag now.
Yeah. And I've switched mine over to mobile data as well.
Yeah. Or was it not working on yours?
Yeah.
Well, don't forget they were in there watching TV.
Oh, they are too.
Yeah. And Brendan's probably home on his phone. Everybody's jumped on the Wi-Fi. So, what's everybody been up to today? Or this morning? I know some of you have probably been sleeping.
Benita's joined us.
Hey Benita, how you going? Thanks for joining us.
Judy actually said it's great to see you do it a few times.
Yeah.
Which, that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. So you can see I'm starting to get quicker, so I'm just not so much talking through now. You can actually see what I'm doing. I would use my smaller scissors, but they seem to be a little bit blunt in the tip, so I'm not worrying about it. It's all right, Savannah.
Which child is it?
Who is it? It's Mia. Oh, little M's come out to visit us. Did the door get you, did it? Oh, really? Is that it's all right. You gonna say hello? You gonna say hello to everybody? Gonna put your head down here and go hello. You're being cheeky. Dearie me. Yeah, you want to say hello to everybody? Say hi. Oh, don't be rude. All right, well, we won't worry about looking at that little girl. Oh, you want to see? All right, say hi, everybody. Be nice. Say hi. Don't be sticking your tongue out. You didn't wash your face very well. Oh, she's really cheeky today. Oh, dearie me. All right, give me a kiss. Give me a kiss. All right, you go and watch a movie with Nana, okay? All right, off you go, sweetie. Good girl. Hey, oh my. Jeez. You children, I don't know, come and rob my chips. Here. You want some chips? Sorry, everybody. There you go. Flakes and chips. Hold your hand out. There you go. Now go sit down. Off you go. Good girl. Good job. All right, go and curl up on the couch and get warm, please. Good girl. Sorry. This is our time on a Friday night. This is when we just cruise in the sewing room, and they know that they can come out. Normally, if we're recording or we're at a live and they're here, they know not to come out during the day, but at night they come out. So, and she's in an awfully cheeky mood today.
Yes, it seems like it.
There's that librarian voice again.
Oh, I'm a librarian now, am I?
Yeah, that's what you sound like. I'm just waiting till you look down your nose at me with your glasses.
Oh, I can do that.
Shh. And shush me. Can everybody still hear that sizzle?
Yeah, I can hear the sizzle.
Okay. All right. So you can see that one went together a little bit quicker.
Elizabeth's laminating at the moment.
Oh, cool.
And
Awesome.
cutting out her templates. So that's
Excellent.
good.
Yeah. Awesome. We'll start to see a few of these rolling around the social media.
And Margie just got home from Perth.
Oh,
She
okay.
had 3 weeks away
Awesome.
visiting her sons. Now she's ready to get back into some craft.
3 weeks away.
Was
Oof.
enough. Away from the craft.
Yeah. I go a little bit stir crazy if I don't have something to do. I can only talk about cars so much. I hope Brendan remembers. Can you send him a message and go, are you picking up narrowly? Because Nicole's not. All right, so that's another one done. There we go. So this will be our last one. And obviously you repeat that with the leaves as well. So you can see, oh, he's here. I was going, can you message Brendan to see if he's picking up?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Just eating dinner and
Cool.
editing video. And
Cool. Awesome. So you can see
message.
so you can see there that I've done the leaves already, and there's a little bit off the edge, and that will just get tucked. I'll snip that off when I get closer to sewing it, and then it'll just get tucked up underneath the leaf. Now I would have loved to have had one of these already done for you today, but time just got away from me in the last fortnight. So, but you just continue doing that, wrapping the fabric around your templates. You can see there my little template's still in there. These have been done for about 45 minutes now, and just been sitting there, and so you can just take the template out and your leaf will just stay, so the starch holds it all there.
Wow.
Excuse me. So I'll just put my little template back in there because we need to know what that is for layout. There it is. Down there. Pop that on there. All right, so do you think everybody be able to you'll be able to do that? You just need to get yourself, you can use your finger or you can use a paintbrush. I'm lucky I have an artist in the house, so I went and robbed her paintbrushes. I actually get to keep this one.
Oh, lucky you.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
I feel so privileged. All right. Not as easy as you think to get it back in, hey?
It's like a puzzle.
It's a puzzle.
Which way does it go?
Follow the curves. Yeah, we did get to our pouring class. They're still a little bit wet, so I haven't had a look again this afternoon, but they were still wet this morning. It was good. It was a free class too, so that was pretty good.
Oh, I missed out.
Oh, you can go next time. Apparently they have classes down there every at the third Thursday of each month, so is a ladies' night, so they'll do something. And this is at our local hardware store called Bunnings. So yeah, and apparently they have that once a month, the third Thursday of every month, and then once a year they have a big party, so to speak. It's a big
That's what it
ladies' night.
sounds like.
Yeah, and about 200 people turn up, they reckon. So that'll be interesting. Unfortunately, I can't film any of it because it's not allowed. So you can only go on what I tell you, basically.
Margie's loving this technique. It's so easy.
Yes, it is. It's super easy. You don't even have to think about it. That's why I love it. Look, I'm super time poor. If I can find an easy way to do something that's going to save me time, make it quick, and give me the same effect, then I'm all over it. I'm all over it. And, you know, using a smaller iron, you can get some little mini iron. That's probably a really good thing to do as well. This is probably a little bit bulky.
The little iron would have been good with applique with the Kiki Koala and what's that called?
Yeah, I don't know, because sometimes that mini, like with the that sort of applique, the mini iron doesn't get hot enough.
Oh, okay.
To, like, it does get hot and it does stick it, but sometimes I have actually had more issues in class situations with mini irons. Yeah, so because in a lot of class situations I do have the mini irons, yeah, because, you know, it's just a lot of drawer power and stuff like that. So yeah. All right, so that is all our flowers done. I've just got to roll that last little bit there. That was just giving me a little bit of trouble, and then I'll give that a press. And then I will show you how to do the stems, because the stems aren't actually wrapped around the templates, because that will just make them incredibly small and incredibly fiddly. So we just do them a little bit different.
Okay, good night, Paula. She's going to catch us on the replay.
No worries. Night, Paula. Thanks for joining us. All right, so there's our fourth one done. So we can set them aside now. Just give that another bit of a press. Very good. All right. There we go. Set that there. Alrighty, so we've done all our leaves, and you do the same with the circle. The circle, you can see here that it just looks like a little Suffolk puff on the back. So basically you just need to snip this one 1/8 of an inch to get it to go around, and then it'll just roll over quite nicely, and then you'll get a nice little circle. Okay, so just be aware that you need to do that. You don't need to do any snipping for the leaves. It will just fold over quite nicely on the back there, so you can see that it just rolls on over, and then you can just get rid of this excess stuff. So all I do is I just, on an angle, see if I can get it on there for you, so you can see there that I can snip it on an angle down underneath, and I'm not going to get a raw edge. Okay, so let me just see if I can get a look up here. How are we going?
Back a bit.
Up here?
Yep.
All right. So I just go on an angle and underneath and just snip that off. So then I've only got this little piece here, and when it comes time to sewing, I can just tuck that under. Can't do it with the scissors, but I can just tuck that under, and then you won't see it. Okay. So continue doing all that with your leaves, and we've done all our leaves, so I'm just going to set them aside. And I generally don't snip off those excess bits until I'm ready to sew, and then I know that it's not going to fray any, or I'm not going to have any issues with that or whatsoever. Now be aware that you will get stains on your ironing pad and all the rest of it, because you are using a little bit of excess on the starch and all the rest of it, so that will definitely happen. So we've got our these are our stems. So on the layout sheet, these are the stems that are going from the flower down to the little circle. Okay, so instead of, I had Savannah cut all my stuff out for me, and if I can just get them. So if I was to wrap the fabric around this, you can see that like it's not like it's tiny as. So you can see how tiny it is, and this is the size of the fabric that's got to go around it. So you can see that I would end up having excess fabric hanging out off either side. So you don't want to wrap the fabric around the little piece. What you're going to do instead is you're going to starch it, and you can see here I've just rolled the edges in about a quarter of an inch, an eighth of an inch on that bend there. Okay, so I'm not sure if you can see that clearly or not, but that's all I've done. And all you do is just get your piece. It just makes it super easy. Like the stems don't have to be that fine. Like, could you imagine trying to wrap that fabric around that piece? So this is already folded in, so you can see there, to get it that thin, it's just not feasible to do it. It's just not. Okay, so that's why I don't do that.
It's still going to look good.
I didn't cut mine on the bias at all, okay, because on my curve that goes like this, I actually have a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then on my curve that is going like that, I've just got an 1/8 of an inch. And because it's just laid on flat, it's not getting bent or anything like that. I didn't have to actually cut that on the bias. So again, I've just used scraps, and I'm just going to press it again because I've just manipulated the hell out of it. And you can't even see it on here because we're using the same color. So yeah, and then I can just set that aside. But you want to just put a little bit of starch on it. Do you want to just pass me the spray bottle one? It's just up there. So for this one, I'm not going to actually paint it on. I've got this little spray bottle one that I keep near my sewing machine. I just give it a quick squirt, get it started, and then I just roll it over, and I just eyeball it. I don't actually stress too much. I just want to make a nice neat edge, and I just follow that along. And the two ends, the short ends, you don't need to worry about doing any of those because they're actually underneath the flowers and underneath the circle.
Oh, okay. That makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, and then you just roll this in as well. And this one is just going to be slightly smaller than the 1/4 inch. I'm just getting a neat edge. And if you need to, you can use your clapper to get a really good crease on that. And as I said, this is all just time saving. So there you go. And that's all you do for that one. Okay. And you just repeat that with the rest of them. And just roll it in.
Sizzle. Now we've got the spritz.
Spritz. I've always wanted to do a whole quilt with needle turn, and the quilt that I'm working on is this particular one here, and it's all flowers. I'll show you the picture of it in a second. I'll grab it, but I'm doing it all in Liberty Tanner Lawn, so it's going to be a bit of a process, and I'm really enjoying it because it's not exactly the cheapest exercise either. It's over here, hon.
Oh, you've got it.
Yeah, I've already got it. It's over here.
Good lady.
So remember, you just want to roll them under, and that way you can stitch it down okay. So again, there we go. It's just nice edge on it. All right, last one, and then we can get ready to start doing the layout. Is there any more questions? Don't start laughing. I'll just start giggling and I won't stop.
Not yet.
Is Shell here? Oh yeah, hey.
Yeah, Shell's just joined us.
Cool.
She's going to watch the start on the replay.
Cool. I have to move to a different part of my ironing board. It's hot. Can you see it okay?
Yes, okay. Elizabeth said she started a Sarah, how do you say that?
Filky, yeah.
Filky quilt.
Yep.
In hand applique, but only did one as it was too difficult.
Yeah, Sarah Filky does have some pretty phenomenal applique quilts. She's got some good tips and tricks in that for her applique stuff. I think she's done a couple of what are they called, blueprint courses and stuff like that. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, hers, whew, man, they are quite technical at times. So yeah, alrighty. So we've done all that now. All our bits and pieces are done. I need to have a drink because my throat's a little bit sore. So you can get rid of all your bits of paper and everything like that. You can get rid of your best press. You can put that away now. You don't need that anymore. And get rid of your paintbrush. Don't necessarily need your scissors either. They can go. So sometimes I use it, as I was saying earlier on, I use these little applique pins, and they're a bugger to get into. Bec, can you help me? Okay, Bec's the opener here. I like to use the Roxanne's Baste glue, so that is my favourite glue that I like to use for applique. Okay, it comes in all different sizes, so I've got them all. All right, now you're going to take your background piece. You want that to be about 12 inches square, and then you're going to, mine's actually a little bit bigger because I can trim it down later, or we might end up turning it into a quilt as you go or something along those lines. But you want it to be about 12 inches or a little bit bigger. And then what you're going to do is you're going to fold it into quarters, and that's to help you find your center point and to help with the layout. Quick and easy way of doing it.
Clever. Makes it simpler.
Yeah, it does. So basically all I do now, and my pad's not big enough, so I'll just move that out of the way. So you can see here, and I'll just get it on the right angle. There we go. So you can see I've got my center point there, so I'm all good to go for that. And what I'm going to do is I'm just looking at my layout, and I'm going to start with my stems, and I'm just going to lay it all out like this. And I'm not going to put the stem right on the center like that. I'm actually just going to come out a little bit, and I want that short end to touch each quarter of the quadrant. Okay, so the crease mark, so it's going to touch this crease mark here, and then it's going to touch this crease mark there, and I'm going to repeat that with all of them. And I'm not going to put any glue or anything like that. Before I put any glue on, I want to do the layout, and that way I can see if I like where it's sitting, you know, if I've got to adjust it or anything like that. I haven't glued it or anything. All right, so I'm liking where they're sitting, and then I'm just going to get my little centerpiece, and I'm going to start taking my template pieces out of that now, and I may have to give them a little bit of a press when I pull them out, but you won't need to put any best press or anything on them. As soon as you hit them again, they'll be fine. All right. So you can see there that it's just going to sit like that. Inside, please. Okay, you need to go and ask Poppy for a peanut butter sandwich. Okay, Mima's busy. Go and ask Poppy for a sandwich. Okay, so then we're going to just take our template out of our flowers, and we can set our flower down like so. And you just want to place it in the center. I'll just bring that down a bit. So you just want to place the stem in the center of your flower. So you can see here that I'm just laying them all out. I'm not gluing anything down just yet. And you see your templates are still good to use for another one. And you just keep doing that. So I can see this one was going to be a little bit off to the wrong side, so I'll just play around with that. Just wasn't in the right place. So it gives you an idea of what it's going to look like. And then we have all our leaves. So these have all got letters on them.
Oh.
Can you pair them up?
Okay.
I just need D and F. There we go. There we go. All right. Okay, so can everybody see that okay? All right, so you take your templates out of your leaves and you just place them where you need them to go. Oh, wrong one. And it doesn't have to be exactly how it is on the layout. You can lay it any way you want to. But I tend to just sort of eyeball it where I want it to go and just play around with the leaves. The leaves are pretty much a, you know, an add-on that you can do and just play around with them. Alrighty. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just laying it out. Like these leaves here are probably a little bit too close, so I might just spread this one down a little bit and just spread it out a bit, and that looks a little bit better. So that's what you want to do with your layout. You just want to play around with it and see if you can get it to how you like it's aesthetically pleasing to you. Okay, so there's no hard and fast rule to it. Just play around with it. At this point, sometimes I will actually use these little, like, and when I say little, they are little. Like, see how little they are? They're not even as big as my fingernail. Like, it's tiny, tiny, tiny. Okay, so you can just pin that in place so you know that it's not going to move on you. And then when it comes time to putting the glue on, you'll be right to go. Alrighty, so now I know where everything's going to lay down, and what I do is I just get my little chalk pencil and then I just make a little mark of where the end of the leaf is going to go, and then I know that that's where it's going to be. I've got to cover that up. Okay, and down here I just bring a little mark at the end of all my centerpieces, and I know that I can now pretty much start gluing. I'm not going to worry about pinning those pieces in place. So now what I'm going to do is find my dab glue. Where'd it go? Had them all here.
Next to your pin.
Oh yeah, there it is. Cool. So starting, oh gosh, hang on, cannot open anything today. So this is just a little dabber, and all I'm going to do is dab put a little dab there and place my piece into place, and then I'm going to do the same with the next one and pop it into place. Can you just hold that? Put a little bit of tautness on that for me. So, and then I'm going to do the same over here, and then the same with this one here. And what that's going to do for me is that's just going to hold those pieces in place for me before I press them down. And then I'm going to put some glue onto the back of my little circle. And this is almost empty, so I'm going to have to transfer over in a minute. And then I just pop that down in place. And it's really just, I'm not putting it right to the edge either. It's more into the center of the circle and of the stems, because I don't want to have glue right to the edge, because I won't be able to stitch it down. So you just want it to just be sort of on the inside, right on the edge of your seam allowance is probably the best place to put it. For the circle, you just want to put it on the center and maybe just a little bit, yeah, about a 1/4 inch in, and that's going to just hold everything in place. So it's going to hold these in place, and I'll still have enough flex in the fabric to be able to stitch that down. Alright, so now what I'm going to do, because I'm running out of glue in that one, I've got to refill it. So now what I'm going to do is just lift up my little stem there and put a little dollop there, and I'm going to do the same for my leaf. And just put another dollop there, and this is just going to hold it all in place. Put a little dollop there, and you don't want to get too excited with the glue. Okay, you just want to have enough just to hold it there. This will wash away if you ever wash it. The glue will actually wash away. And don't stress too much if your side of your stem or your leaf sort of starts to curl a little bit. Don't stress about that, because you will be stitching along there, and you can manipulate that with the I don't understand why it hasn't put it in bed. You'll be able to just manipulate that with the needle. So we're up to our flower now, and you can just see here I'm just going to put it a couple of little dollops just along, not too much, okay, and then I can place that down. It's a bit tricky to show on camera.
Just a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, so just might tilt that down just a tad more. How's that? There we go. All right. So I'll just remove my pin. So you can see here that I've got a little bit of flex still, but it's actually stuck down like the glue. I'm going to hit this with the iron and it'll adhere in place. And I've had stuff used with this applique in this method up on my on my design wall for 12 months, and it hasn't come off. So yeah, you don't want to go too crazy with the glue. Just put just a little dollop here and there, just enough to hold it in place, because we are going to stitch it into place. Okay, we don't use any fusible web with this because we are stitching. All right. So there's little ones right there. All right. Just move that one out of the way for now. So you can see here that my centerpieces aren't moving at all. Even though I haven't hit that with the iron yet, it's just not moving at all. And even this here, like I can move it around and I know that it's not going to go anywhere. So now I'm on to the next stem, and I'm just going to work my way around doing exactly the same thing. And you can put your pieces there like that, and you can just go along with the glue. Just put a dot here and there. And then I'm just going to put a little bit up here and pop that into place. And then what leaves am I looking for here? M and H. Yep. Okay, and now this one. So you can see there I'm just snipping some of the stuff off. Yeah, Judy, these ones are generally, they go for about 2 hours, these little workshops that we do, just basically because we try to do everything from scratch just to show you what's happening and how to do it. So yeah. So you can always catch us on the replay, as you said, and yeah. Leave us a comment if you've got one. If you've got a question or anything like that, you can also leave that as well. Put the leaf on the wrong way. Good on you. Yeah, Poppy will be back in a second and he'll put you to bed, sweetie, okay? Alright, or Nana can put you to bed. Alright. So just pop my little flower on there. What are you doing?
She's found a new bed.
Ah, is that where you're sleeping? Alright. It's 2 flowers on.
Looking good.
Alrighty. So just stick that bit down. Would you go and jump on the couch, sweetie? Yeah, Poppy will be home soon. He's just gone to get Ray Ray.
Bed.
Okay, well,
Go hop on
your
your
bed then. That's fine. You can hop on your bed. So you can see there that you just put a little bit of glue here and there, and you just stick that down, and then once we hit it with the iron, it's not going to go anywhere.
She's gonna be stuck good.
She is going to be stuck real good. And I just put a dot, like a little dot of glue all the way around. It'd help if you actually get some on that bit. Alright. That's that one. Now our last one.
Lucky last.
God, now she's gone inside. Mia is in fine form today. I don't know what she's...
Everyone can hear her in the background.
Can she? Yeah. Oh my God, don't shut that
Do you
door.
want me to go and...
Oh, that's alright. You can, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on in there.
I'll just go check them.
Normally they're really good and Poppy puts them to bed and all the rest of it, but yeah, not today. Don't know what's going on today. Alright. Mia has been super cheeky all afternoon. She has just been in fine form. Alright, so that is our last flower on. And once you've got that on and you've just tentatively put that in place, we've got a little bit of a bit over there that we'll have to fix up with the needle. Alright, you can pop your glue away. And I'm just going to get rid of that little bit there because it's annoying me. Alright, so now you've got all your templates out and you've got them all glued down, and we've just hit the hour mark, have we?
Yep, just over an hour now.
Yep, just over an hour. So now what you're going to do is you're just going to, because you might have got some glue and stuff on the sheet there. I generally just, yeah, it's alright, I'll do that with the needle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that what the one that you looked at?
Yeah. So basically all I do is I just then iron it with a applique sheet over the top, and that just stops any of the glue getting onto the iron or anything like that. And you don't have to iron it for too long. It'll dry. It's just drying the glue essentially.
Linda's just joined us. Hi, Linda.
Good morning, Linda. How are you? Alrighty, so that's all you need to do, and now that is on. So you can see there that I can pick it up and I can move it around, and I don't have to worry about anything getting in the way. Can you send a message to Brendan and tell him to put her to bed, please?
Yep.
Alright. So what we need to do now is we need to start sewing this down. So there is a few things that I like to use, and I'm just going to go grab them because they're just off camera. Go to Poppy. Poppy's inside. Poppy's home. Okay, so when I'm doing this sort of stuff, I like to use a 60 weight thread.
I was gonna sing out.
Pardon?
I was gonna sing out of it.
Yeah, I'm recording, thanks.
Cool. Wait.
Okay, off you go, Mia and Neralee. Off you go. So I've got this little donut, and it has all these different colours in it, and basically it just comes like this. You can actually buy it. They're out of stock at the moment. Just waiting for them to come back into stock, but it comes with all these colours, so it's perfect for this sort of application, because you don't have to have all these colours in big spools of thread. It is also a 60 weight thread, which makes it nice and fine. I just use, what's wrong?
No, I am way too busy to put Mia to bed.
Really? King of Toe, put her to bed. Alrighty. So basically I just have these bobbins, and they're just a they're just a cardboard bobbin, and that's what I use, and I use it for all my applique. And it's a 60 weight, so it's a nice fine thread as well, so you can see there it's nice and fine. And basically all I do is I just take a little bit off at a time. I've got my needle there. I just use the sharps. I don't use any particular style of applique needle or anything like that. I just use a basic sharps needle. I don't even care what size it is. I just use what is comfortable in my hand. I think this is about a 10 or something. I'm not too sure. I just put a little knot in it, and all I do is wrap it around my finger like so, and then I just roll it off and pull it down, and then you get a little knot in the end, which you can't see on camera because it's such fine. Oh, there you go. Got it just there. So you got a little knot in the end. And snip that off, leaving the knot there. And then all you're going to do, and this is going to be real tricky, so Bec, I'm going to actually try and get you to come in really close to this, like zoom it in.
Yeah.
So if you pinch it in, we don't need the iron anymore, so we can get rid of that. All right, so just bear with us, ladies, while we get a close-up of this. Okay, so you can see here we've got the edge of our fabric. It's nice and it's all tucked under the seam and all the rest of it. So what I do is I come up from the back of my piece, and I'm just going to come up as I normally would, and Bec's going to guide me on the camera.
Yep, we can see.
Yeah, you can see the needle. So the needle's just near my thumb there, and I'll just get it nice and close for you to see where it's coming out, and it's coming out right on the edge of that flower. All right, you want to pull that up, okay, and then you're going to just come underneath. So you just got to grab a little bite of the fabric underneath the flower, and you're going to come up in that same spot that the thread's coming out of, and that's our starting point. Okay, and as you can see, you can't even see it. Okay, so I have just come in just there. All right, so that's actually attached to there now. Then what you're going to do is, this is really, really interesting to me doing it this way, because I've got to look at what I'm doing in front of me and also to make sure it's coming on the camera as well. So this is quite fun. All right, now depending whether you're left-handed or right-handed, which way you're going to go. Now along this way. So I have the piece sitting in front of me like this, okay? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bite of that background fabric again. Okay, and then I'm going to come out in the crease of the flower. So you can see there, I'm just coming out in the crease. It doesn't matter if it's a little bit in, just coming out into the crease. Okay, and then I'm going to pull that. Then I'm going to go back into that point and then come out about 1/4 of an inch down in that crease. Okay, so how's that looking? Can you see it okay?
I don't know if it's the internet's playing up or not. Can everyone see what Nicole's doing well enough?
Okay, so the question that Benita is asking, does it matter what thread you're using? I am actually using the same color thread as my background. So no, it doesn't really matter what color the top is. I'm just using the same as the background. Okay, so I'm just going to turn again, and where I come out, okay, so that's where I've come out. that's where I'm going to take a little snippet of fabric underneath the flower, and I'm going to come across about 1/4 of an inch, and then I'm going to come out into that crease, and I'm going to pull that, and you can see there that that's starting to just stitch that down. Now I do my bindings exactly the same way as this, so I'm just going to show Bec again from this angle. So you just go take where I've come out, so you can see that thread there where I've come out. I'm going to go directly in, so that's where I've come out, and I'm going directly in where I have come out. You see that, Bec? And then about 1/4 of an inch, which is going to catch the stem and the flower, I'm coming out in that crease. Can you see that crease?
Yeah.
Okay, and what that does, where we went in, that's going to just come down as a tiny little stitch, and it disappears. Okay. So you can see there that you can't see the stitches, and this is really hard to show on camera. So I'm hoping that I'm explaining it properly to you.
Susan said she can see.
Yeah, cool.
That's
And then
good.
all you do is you continue on doing that all the way around. Like, it's going to get much easier when we get better cameras, because I will have a camera down here that'll be closer in front of me, and you'll be able to see what I'm doing exactly. But as long as you take a little bite where you went in, okay, so where your thread come out, you go in right where that thread came out.
Directly
Underneath it. Yep. And then you come out. And I find to learn how to do this, it is better to take little snippets as opposed to doing big snippets. Okay, oh, I'm hooked up on the center there.
Oh, yes.
That happens. All right. Am I still hooked up?
Yeah, you're still hooked up.
There we go. All right. Oh my God. Okay, so that's what you do. And again, we're going in where we came out, so you can see that back.
Yeah.
And everybody else can pretty much see that on camera. It's pretty clear. And it just takes a little tiny bite. And I don't double my thread either. This bottom line 60 weight thread is pretty strong. And don't stress it if you don't get right in where you came out, because what will happen, you won't even see it over time. So you can see there that that is now stitched down. That's not going to go anywhere. I can run my finger along that and it's not going to go anywhere. So that's where I've just stitched, just along there. So hopefully that makes sense and everybody can see that, okay? And that's all you're going to do. You're just going to continue doing that around the flower. And what I'm going to show you, I'm going to go up to this point here where we've got one of these little doohickeys sticking out and giving us grief and not looking
Like
real pretty.
Dog ear.
Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go up to there and you can just watch what I'm doing. I'm only going to do one flower. Bec's going to end up finishing the rest of this off because this is actually her project. Her to learn how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see it is quite quick. As long you just got to go in where you've come out and just get the crease of the flower. Sometimes it's not real easy to get right on the crease, so it doesn't matter if you come in a little bit. The 60 weight thread will actually hide itself pretty well. So you can see there, and it's just nice and quick. You know, with like I've looked at needle turn where you can actually see the stitches like there. I didn't go right in and you can sort of see the stitch, but from a distance you can't really.
You're not going to notice it.
You're not going to notice it.
As an overall,
yeah.
Once
So,
the project's finished.
yeah. There's too many pretty fabrics for people to be hung up on that sort of stuff. Just use it as a learning curve. Use it as something that you can. Anyone else? Yeah, we're having issues with connection here too, Shell. I think it's just the internet at the moment. It's just pretty dodgy. Like, I mean, at my place, my phone, what I'm recording on isn't actually on my Wi-Fi, but my Wi-Fi is really laggy tonight.
It is, yeah. And it's the image for the video. With
Yeah,
the
on your
not
camera
very,
though is good.
On my phone's
Yeah,
good, yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So I'm just coming up to this little dog ear thing that we need to get rid of, and I'm going to show you what you need to do. Okay.
Wow.
All right, so you see how
Flew up there.
yeah, so you've seen how quick that is. Like once you get the rhythm of it happening, and you don't stress. And this is what I like to say to Bec. Bec's a perfectionist, and it drives me insane. And she expects herself to be perfect from the get-go, and that's not going to happen if you've never done this before. So this is a good little project. It's just a little project that you can turn into a cushion, or you can have it as a little mini quilt or something like that, and you can just practice. Actually practice the stitches and all the rest of it, so it doesn't matter if you make a mistake. Okay, so we've come up to this this little point here, so you can see there that it's got a little dog ear, so it's not a nice neat point that we want to do. So all you do is you get your needle, and doing it up in the air is not the easiest thing to do. So basically you're just going to manipulate that piece of fabric underneath, so you're just going to push it underneath. And I don't know if you can see that or not, Bec, but I'm just going to push that underneath like that. See that?
Yep.
All right. So you can see there that it's still there, but all I've done is just manipulated it to go underneath. Okay. And it doesn't have to be a sharp point on this. You just don't want that dog ear. Okay. And you don't want to shove it in so far that it comes out on this side, and then you've got to push back in again, okay? Because I've done that myself, all right? So I just push it in, and if you need to, if you're having trouble getting it to stay there, that's where these little applique pins come in handy. So this tiny little pin here, I can now stick into that, if it doesn't stick to me from the glue. I can just stick it in and hold that in place.
Oh, that's a clever little trick.
So you see there, I've just got the pin sticking in there, and I can just manipulate that to wherever I want it to go. It's not actually pinned in place, it's just stuck in there. And then,
oh, Rebecca Jane's just joined us.
So then I can stitch this down and know that that little piece of dog ear isn't going to stick back out again. So you can see there, the pin's just stuck in, and it's just holding everything in place, and that dog ear is underneath. So now all I do is I just make sure it's underneath there. I grab my little piece of background fabric and the edge of the flower, and then I just go along as I normally would. And then I come up to the point and I go through, and sometimes your fabric underneath will try to come out. So basically I just go in again into that background fabric, and I grab the point of the flower, and it can be a little bit cumbersome to get through. Just hold it with your fingernail and pull it down, and there you go. No more dog ear. Okay,
Well done.
and then you just continue going around.
You do realise you'll have to finish this whole flower.
Yeah, I realize that. Okay, and we just again go in where we've come out. If you've got a little bit of a fray bit on this side here, then you can just basically, you can just do exactly the same thing. Push it underneath with your needle, and you're right to go.
Doesn't look as daunting now.
No. And this is how you do your bindings as well. So when I do my bindings, I do them exactly the same way. You know, and the idea is not to be real heavy-handed. This was a really good project for me because I'm quite heavy-handed. This was a really good project for me to learn to be a little bit more gentle with a thread and the fabric and all the rest of it. So you can see there that that's now stuck on, and I don't have to worry about it. It's not going to fall off or anything like that. And you just continue going all the way around the flower, and you can see we've got a nice edge there. And if need be, if after you've done it and you need to go and do a couple of little tacks there, you can always do a couple of little tacks if you need to, if it's sticking out too much for you. That's fine. But this is just what we do for Cheats Needle Turn. Super quick, super easy. You can see that you get a whole mini quilt done. It'll probably take you about 3 hours to do this whole project. Once you get the hang of, you know, doing the sewing and stuff like that, you get into a rhythm and you just get going. So from cutting out the sewing maybe take you about 3 hours to do the whole project.
Yeah, maybe a bit more for me.
The hand sewing, you'd be surprised
Yeah.
how quick you get, because you just get into a rhythm on
Okay.
that. Although you take 5 hours to put 2 borders on, so yeah, you probably would.
Don't tell everyone the secret.
Oh, that's no secret, man. So yeah, you just keep going around, and yeah.
So is there a particular sequence of how you
No.
when you sew
Okay.
each piece down?
No. So basically, once you've glued it in, like the sequence is in the gluing. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So you've seen when I glued everything down, I started from the center and worked my way out.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's easier to work from the center and work your way out. The same with quilting, you start from the center and you work your way out.
Yeah. And the
Okay.
same as the other applique.
Yeah, the other applique, we start from the center and we
Yep,
work our
the
way out.
machine
With
applique.
this one, because it's already stuck down, we're just sewing it now.
Yeah.
So you can start wherever you want to start.
Okay.
Okay, so generally what I do is I go and do all the flowers.
Okay.
And then I'll do the stems because I can come down here, up here, across here, down and up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep. That makes sense.
And then with and I usually go like around the, obviously I go around the leaves as well.
oh,
And
okay.
that's so like I go around the leaves and just work my way around, because that's sort of like one piece. So that's what you sort of want to look at. So oh hey Leah, how you going? Nice to see you here. Yeah, so basically you just want to keep sewing that down into place, and just using that
it just disappeared.
yeah, I know, I just seen
I
that.
watched it go in.
I've seen it on camera. Like I said, it's not the easiest thing to show on camera, but it gives you a general idea. I am available for questions if anybody's got any questions. Anything else that you think that I should be telling you about, if you've done this technique before, have you got any tips and tricks, you can always let me know. We're always happy to hear them. And yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, so I just keep going along. I don't pull off a lot of thread, so sometimes for a flower I might take 2 cuts of thread because it can get tangled up. And
So how much thread do you start off with?
I usually just start off from the tips of my fingers to my elbow.
Okay.
Yeah, so
That's a good measurement.
yeah, it's just yeah, sometimes I get a bit carried away and it might, you know, go a little bit further, but I try not to. It just tends to get, you know, because you're working in tiny little bites of stitching, and it can get tangled up pretty easy.
Do you want to zoom out now, or?
So yeah, so you can see there that you can't even see the stitching. So I've gone along there already and you can't see it. Okay. And on the back, it actually, I don't even think you'll be able to pick it up. It's that fine. So you can see there.
You can just see it.
You can just see it there. It looks like a back stitch almost as you've done it. Okay, so just remember that where you come out with on your fabric, okay, so where you've come out with your thread, that's where you want to go and take that little bite of background fabric just where it's coming out, so just beside it, and then you move along 1/4 inch and come out on the edge of that fabric. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. So as Bec said, I'm going to have to finish this flower because she's a lefty and I'm doing it right. So yeah, so I'm going to finish off this little flower, and what's that? Ben's,
Benita said Bec's trade secrets.
yeah, yes. Oh, you have no idea sometimes. The amount of times that she plays on her phone. She hears a ding and she's got to run to her. I hassle her all the time about her phone. Don't worry about it. She's rolling her eyes at me right now.
Because she's over exaggerating.
I am not over exaggerating. I'm going to film you. You watch. I'm going to get you. we had a really good lunch yesterday. We went to this little cafe here in town at Kingaroy called Nourish Cafe. Best food ever.
Oh my gosh.
And it's all vegan. And I had this slice, and it's called, what was it called?
Snickerdoodle.
Snickerdoodle or Snickerlicious?
Snickerlicious.
Snickerlicious. Oh my god! You cannot stop at one bite. It was absolutely divine.
And then she sends me a message and says, that slice was so good.
But you had your slice.
Yeah, I had mine. I had the peanut butter caramel slice.
Yeah, that's right. That's what you got.
That was yummy.
Yeah. And Bec had a Nourish bowl after her surgery, so that was full all the.
That was so good.
Full of-
so filling as well.
Yeah, lots of goodness that had in it.
Definitely.
And I had a bean chili with a side salad. and a chai latte, which was really nice.
I had the coffee smoothie.
Yeah, that was tasty. That looked tasty.
That was good.
I'm not drinking coffee at the moment, so. Well, thank you, Margie. I really appreciate that. I often wonder about my hand stitching. But you just just keep going along, and if you get a little point like where these where we've snipped into this fabric quite a bit, and you've got a little bit of a like it looks like a raw edge or a little bit of a frayed bit, just push that underneath the actual flower and stitch it down. You will, over time, it won't come out or anything like that. I've never had any issues with it at all. And just make sure that you're just taking your time. I'll just come up there a bit, but you won't even see that.
Oh yes.
Yeah, see where
you
I've
won't
just,
even notice it.
No. So you when you use a 60 weight thread, it's so fine, and in some cases I've even used 100 weight thread, and you cannot see that at all. That's like working with a piece of hair.
Oh, so the bigger the number, the finer?
No, the bigger the number.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bigger the number, the finer it is. The smaller the number, the thicker the thread is. Sorry.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so this is 60 weight. So this is probably...
So in comparison, for me to understand, it's a bit like sandpaper. The bigger the number, the finer the sandpaper.
Yeah. Oh my God. She used to be married to a panel beater.
Spray pan.
Spray paint, oh, same thing. They
Two
all
different trades.
Yeah, but they still do similar stuff. They still work with sandpaper and stuff. But all is done as one.
What was that? I got that. That was a good mumble.
So you can see here, I've got a little bit that I've gone a little bit too close to the template, so it's a little bit frayed.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to push that under and then come out on that edge, and because I've pushed that under, it's actually locked under there now, and overall you're not going to see it. And instead of taking a 1/4 inch, I'll only take an 1/8 of an inch.
Wow, Rebecca Jane has done a whole quilt like this.
Yeah, it is pretty relaxing once you get the rhythm of it, and like
you cross stitch.
Yeah, it's a bit like you cross stitch. So basically the preparation is what takes the longest, I believe, with these quilts, because you've got to sit down and you've got to prep all of the pieces, and everything is on there. But if you're doing a whole quilt and you just prep, say you had like 16 blocks and you prepped 1 block a day,
yeah,
and then you sat down and sewed them 1 block a day, after you prepped them, it'd be done in no time at all.
Yeah.
It just depends on how busy you are, and
how much time you have,
and all the rest of it. So
sit down and just go for it.
But like once I prepped, like this one here that I done. So this one here that I've done in the past, I prepped all that on 1 day, and then it only took me an afternoon to sew it.
Oh wow.
So so you can see there that this is all sewn down exactly the same way as well. Okay, so you can see on the back I've got the stitching there, like the back stitch, and then you can barely, and this is lawn fabric, so it's Liberty Tanner lawn, so it's a very fine fabric to use. So I've only used a 60 weight on this one as well. So and it's just like it's all sewn down, and then it'll just get put together, and I can just set it aside, and it gets a little bit puffy. And so you can see here on this one, I've just got that, you can't even see it. And I've done it exactly the same way as what we've done tonight. So this quilt will end up looking like this here. So this is the quilt that, the one I'm doing Liberty, this is what the quilt will be. And this one here, I'm thinking that I might even do this one as Quilt As You Go. And actually turn it into a bit of a Friday night thing for you to see.
Yeah.
I'm not real crash hot at Quilt As You Go, but hey, why not? Give it a run. I might, I'll draw some lines out and stuff like that. I don't do a lot of quilting on the small machine, so it's not really my forte.
Yeah.
I'm always on the long arm machine, but this is the quilt that I'm going to end up quilting, making. So I've done that block there. That one I was just showing you is that block there. So I've still got a few to do. But again, I'm just going to sit down and prep all mine and then have them there. And when I get a chance to hand stitch them, I've got in the next few months, I've got dance exams and stuff like that where I'm sitting there for nearly 8 hours. So if I have them all prepped and they're all together in a project box, I can just take them along with me. And while the girls are all, you know, tra-la-la-ing around, I would basically sit there and stitch. Yeah. So we have this one in our on our website too. We've only got one of these pages left.
Yeah, there's only one left.
Yeah, there's only one left. We have sold a few over the past week or so.
I can
we can put the link in for you so you can find it if you want to find it. Yeah, so this particular lady, Free Bird Quilting Designs, she's actually got some really nice patterns, this lady has. And I basically want to do all her patterns and do them all in Liberty. So what was that question then? Do you finish quilting it on the long arm? It depends. So this particular one, I'm thinking that I'm going to do it as quilt as you go, because a few people have asked me about quilt as you go, so I figure I might as well turn it into a lesson. But normally I would just finish all my quilts over on a long arm. Any mini quilt that I do, like this particular one here, I would possibly just do that on the domestic machine as well. So yeah. So what I might do is I might just bring the camera out now.
and do that.
Yep, I'll get back to do that. So you've pretty much seen what we're going to do, what you do when you sew it and all the rest of it. And you just continue doing that all the way around. And then before you know it, you've got a nice little mini quilt, or you can turn it into a cushion or something like that. So
I've
yeah.
just put the link up for the quilt that Nicole's doing. What's it called? Free.
It is called Divided Blooms, and it's a large lap quilt. It is 70 inches by 70 inches, and it is by Carolyn Murfitt.
Yep.
And it's Free Bird Quilting Designs.
Designs.
So that's it there.
Yeah.
Okay, is that coming up in the right way?
Give us a moment for lag.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Cool. There we go. Alrighty. All right. So, do you reckon you can do it?
I reckon I can give it a go.
I reckon you can do it.
Yeah.
As long as you're not scared.
Nah.
It won't bite you.
No. I'll be right.
Yeah, you'll be
Once
right.
I start,
Yeah.
I'll probably enjoy it.
Yeah. Something you can do when the children are squabbling. Just sit there and sew.
Yep.
They were all in a mood today.
They were, weren't they?
Yeah. This one snuck out, cheeky bugger. See, and you just manipulate it. So we just come up to a part that was being a little bit cumbersome, and I'm just manipulating it with the with my finger and also the needle, and I'll get that to hold under there. The only thing about Calico I didn't do is run a line of stitching around it. The background fabric, so it was just fraying a bit.
Oh, so you normally
This background, yeah, I normally, you know, like
stitch around
yeah,
this
stitch
edge.
around the edge, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So get under there. Doesn't want to go under. There we go. There we are. Now it's under there.
Playing the game now.
I'm holding my tongue right now.
Oh,
That's what it is, yeah. Sometimes the edge of your flowers can be a little bit tricky, but just take your time and roll it under. And what was that? All right.
Oh. Looks like you need to order some more in.
Okay. Did Rebecca just buy it? You bought it?
Let me see.
I just unthreaded my needle. Awesome. Was it?
Yep.
running out of thread, so I'm going to leave it right there for now, and I'm going to put the camera back up. Alright. Alrighty, so that is Cheat's needle turn. So as I said, I'll show you a bit closer look at this one here. So that is, you want to hold that side?
Sure.
So I so yeah, so that's what it'll end up looking like when it's all stitched down and ready to go. But even once you've got it glued down, like this piece here, just careful, there's a pin there, needle there. So even with this piece here, it's glued down, we can shake that, that's not going to come off. Okay, so you've hit it with the iron and all the rest of it, so now you can just stitch it down. As I said, this one, it's about 12 inches square that it should be. Give it a really good press, turn it into a cushion or something like that, and yeah, you've got yourself a nice,
really pretty. Looking at it there on the camera now.
A nice little mini quilt for yourself, and yeah, there you go. So Bec's going to finish that off. That's going to be her next year.
Here's my UFO.
That's her finish it Friday. She's got to have it done by next Friday. It won't be done by next Friday because I'll have to help her with the stitching. So I've just given her a demonstration on how to do that. I'll tee her up with some thread and all the rest of it, and she'll be right to go then.
Yep.
But yeah, that's about it. Hopefully you really enjoyed that little tutorial and the cheats needle turn. It is a different way of doing it. The way I've been shown before, I just found it too time consuming.
That's what I'm wondering, what's the other way?
Well, the other way, they basically cut out the fabric, and they use, I think they use freezer paper from memory, because it's been a long time since I was shown. And then they instead of like how we've done it with the template and the quarter inch is already underneath, they turn it with their needle. Yeah. Yeah.
Silly people.
Yeah. That's what I thought too. So yeah, so that I call this Cheats needle turn. Probably is just needle turn if you wanted to call it that. I like it because it's quick, it's easy. As I said, I'm super time poor, so I don't have a lot of time to sit down there and fiddle around with things, but I still like the look of it. So that's why I do it this way, and my entire quilt's going to be done that way, and you're not even going to know the difference. Like, it's still stitched down the same. I just didn't sit there and put that quarter inch under with the needle. Yeah. And that's why it's called needle turn, because you're putting it in and you turn, like, it's a different technique.
Yes.
And all the rest of it.
Understand that. Yeah.
So it's a tricky technique. So yeah. Have you ever done the interfacing method before? Yes, I have. I've done that. I do that for orange peel quilts. So anytime I do an orange peel quilt, that's with your orange, like looks like a leaf. And I am anxious to watch the beginning of the video so I can give it a go. Yeah, it's a little, there's a lot of prep work with this. So you are doing a lot of prep. And basically, once you get the prep done and you're sewing, you're just flying through it.
Once you get
and you can use this stitch to put your binding down, so you've got that invisible stitch. The only difference is with your binding, you actually use 2 threads, and you use a heavier weight on your quilt. You use a heavier weight, so you use like a Gutermann, which I think is a 40 weight thread. I don't use anything. I either use a 40 weight or a 50 weight for binding.
Okay.
And I have 2 threads. So
okay.
Yeah, so I pull off a thread about this long.
Yeah.
Then I thread the needle and I bring the 2 ends down, tie the knot, and then I've got a double thread.
Yep.
So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it doesn't come off. You don't unthread it all the time. That's because it's hooked onto the thing. So
like
yeah.
you did previously.
Yeah.
On this one.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically, yeah, so that's going to go together pretty well. And as I said, you can see there that that's the corner that we had a bit of issues. I'm still working on one down here, but I'm running out of thread, so I'm going to rethread the needle and finish that flower off, because Bec is left-handed, so she won't be able to stitch the same way that I am. So I'll finish that off for her. But you can see there that that's all down. It's not going anywhere at all. And I'm rolling that with my finger behind it as well. So, and you cannot see those stitches at all.
Turn it a bit more.
Yep. So you can't see any of the stitches. Yeah, it's not focusing for you. So yeah. Alrighty. Well, I am basically going to call it a night. It is 8:45 here. We've been going for an hour and 45 already. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did enjoy the video, give us a thumbs up down below. leave us a comment underneath the video if you come back to watch the beginning of it, if you missed the beginning. If you've got any questions at all, pop the questions down there. Either myself or Bec will answer those tomorrow morning. And yeah, we can get you started with Cheats Needle Turn, and we'll start to see all these wonderful applique quilts. This technique's really good for when you do like Celtic blocks and stuff like that. Like all your Celtic crosses and all that sort of stuff, when you're using bias, and like that's a whole another world of quilting. But yeah, like you're using your bias and stuff like that, you can use the glue technique and iron it all down, and yeah, it's also, there's a little bit of weaving in that with the bias and stuff like that. So it's another good technique for that, and you can use it for any sort of as I said, any sort of binding or anything like that, anything where you're going to use a bias and you've got a neat edge or anything like that. So yeah, give it a go. Tell me what you thought. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on any future posts. We have to sit down now and work out what we're going to do in 2 weeks time when we come back. I think we're going to be looking at something a little bit different, maybe some cross stitch. Maybe we might look at that. Because I think the cross stitches will be in from Fat Quarter Shop then too. So we'll have a bit of a think about it while we pack up tonight, and we'll let you know over at Stitch Talk or over in Facebook on what our next project's going to be. Hopefully we might be able to give away a little kit or something. We'll see what happens. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. Really do appreciate it. And we'll see you again in a fortnight. Or
hope you all have a good weekend as well.
Have a fabulous weekend.
Yes, a fortnight, Carol.
Yes, a fortnight. See you in a fortnight. That's right. So, if you've got, as I said, if you've got any questions, just leave them down underneath the video. And don't forget, your free little project is underneath the video as well. And you need to print off 2 copies. And there's a list of other stuff that you need as well. So that's it from us tonight. Have a great weekend, everybody. My name's Nicole, and this is Bec, and we'll see you again in a fortnight. Bye for now.
Bye.